Today, we're getting into something so many of us deal with, single life and those, dating patterns that just keep showing up. Our mission here is to unpack why it can feel like this endless loop sometimes, and maybe more importantly, how you can navigate it differently, how you can break free.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how often people seem to fall into these recurring ways of being, almost like specific archetypes in dating. And these aren't just labels for other people. Often they're actually stages we go through ourselves. They reveal quite a bit about how we approach finding someone.
Okay, so these recurring patterns, these archetypes, what are we talking about here? Let's start with the skater. What does that look like?
Right, the skater. Imagine someone ice skating on a lake. They're constantly moving, sort of gliding from one day, one person to the next.
Yeah.
They never really stop long enough to connect deeply. They often prioritize dating almost like it's a second job. And there's usually this underlying fear of being alone.
Ah, okay. So if a date goes bad, or even after a breakup.
They're straight back out there, on to the next. And this constant motion, it means they dodge vulnerability. They avoid the discomfort, the pain. There's just no time allowed to really see someone or, crucially, be seen themselves.
Okay, that makes sense. Always moving. So what about the opposite? Someone who finds one person and just dives right in.
Ah, yeah, that sounds exactly like the sinker. This person gets engrossed, almost like obsessed really quickly with someone they like. Think of sinking into water, totally submerged. You often see signs of anxious attachment. They're trying so hard to impress, to be what they think the other person wants.
Constantly analyzing things?
Totally overanalyzing texts, interactions, trying to lock that person down. And in doing that, they kind of lose themselves.
Yep.
They forget their own needs, what they actually want, because they're so busy trying to please.
Right. Okay, skater, sinker,
Hmm.
and then maybe after getting burned by one or both of those,
Yeah.
you get the sideliner. Yeah.
Exactly. This is the person who's now standing on the edge of that metaphorical lake. They've taken themselves completely out of the game. They've probably been hurt before, maybe multiple times. And they start making these big generalizations, all men are like this, or dating is just impossible.
So they just check out.
Pretty much. They get disenchanted, and rejecting dating becomes this shield, really. It's a defense mechanism to avoid feeling rejection ever again.
Okay, so we have these three types, but are they always separate people? Or can one person kind of cycle through them?
That's the really fascinating part, actually. These aren't always just distinct types of people. More often, they're stages within one person's dating journey. Like, you might start out as a skater, always looking, always swiping. Then maybe someone really charismatic, catches your eye.
And then you flip.
Yeah, you can become a sinker. Suddenly, you're overly invested in this person. And when that inevitably ends badly, maybe because you gave way too much to someone who didn't deserve it or wasn't ready.
You get hurt.
Right. You get hurt and you retreat. You become the sideliner, thinking, that's it, I'm done with dating. But then, after some time alone, that fear of being alone might creep back in.
And pushes you back to skating again.
Exactly. Skater to sinker to sideliner and then back to skater. It's this exhausting cycle. And that leads directly to dating burnout.
Wow. Yeah, I can see how draining that would be. So for you listening, if you feel caught in that kind of pattern, what's the alternative? Is there like an antidote?
Absolutely. The antidote, the way out of the cycle, is learning to swim.
Okay, swim. I like that. What does swimming actually mean in the dating world?
Swimming is all about finding an organic pace. It's not overdating like the skater, constantly filling your calendar. And it's not underdating, where you stop completely or focus so intensely on one person you become a sinker. It's finding a cadence that feels right for you.
So slowing down a bit.
Yeah, slowing down enough to actually be present on a date, to let genuine connection and attraction build naturally over time, not force it. It also means staying hopeful, but continuing to move forward with your life, whether you have a partner or not. Crucially, it involves feeling your feelings, maybe healing from past hurts, instead of just jumping immediately to the next distraction.
Like slow dating.
Yeah.
Taking more time for maybe more real result.
Exactly that. And a big part of swimming is how you evaluate people. Instead of just being dazzled by charisma or looks,
Which is easy to do.
so easy, instead you start looking for teammate qualities. How do they actually show up? How consistent are they? And really importantly, how comfortable do you feel being your absolute self, your meetest me around them?
That teammate idea is great. It reminds me actually of something a friend figured out. He used to try and make his dating profile appeal to, like, everyone.
Right, casting a wide net.
Yeah. But then he realized he didn't want the maximum number of people. He wanted the right people. So he added this super specific detail, something like, my perfect evening is working side by side on our laptops for 3 hours. than watching a Disney movie.
Huh. Okay, very specific.
Totally. And probably not for everyone.
Mhm.
But for the people it did resonate with, it was a magnet for genuine compatibility.
That's swimming, right?
Right.
Focusing on authentic connection, not just impressing.
Precisely. And, the swimming thing, it takes courage. If you've been a sideliner, just getting back in the water takes courage. And once you're in, slowing down to that organic pace takes confidence, especially if you feel pressure or someone's trying to rush things, love bomb you.
Yeah, resisting that pressure.
And it takes real strength to say no to something that isn't right, even if it feels like the only option around for a bit. Swimmers stay in the game, but they move forward wisely, always prioritizing that genuine connection over just attention. So as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe something for you to think about is, what's one small shift, one courageous step you could take today to start swimming a bit more authentically in your own search for connection?
Yeah, just reflect on your own journey. Where might you be skating, sinking, or sitting on the sidelines? And what would swimming look like for you right now?